Adorable, mischievous, and full of surprises. Mijbil's story will steal your heart. Hey, young minds, ready for an adventure in English literature? Welcome to the Eloquent Explorers, where every chapter is a journey and every poem is a story. Let's explore, learn, and grow together. Today, we dive into the story of Mijbil the Otter, written by Gavin Maxwell, a grade 10 CBSE gem from First Flight. In this video, we're going to cover about the author, background of the story, setting, detailed summary, themes, and exam focus. Exam focus are the main points from the story or the poem that I tell you to focus on for your exams, from your exams perspective. So make sure you stay tuned till the end to know what points to focus on from the chapter for your exams. Let's begin our journey by getting to know about our author. Gavin Maxwell was a Scottish naturalist and writer known for his fascination with wildlife and nature. So Gavin Maxwell is a Scottish writer. Scottish means that he belongs to Scotland. Make sure to check where this country is located on your world map. His most famous work, Ring of Bright Water, details his experiences with otters and became a classic in wildlife literature. Maxwell dedicated his life to raising awareness about wildlife conservation and the beauty of the natural world. His writing is characterized by vivid descriptions, humor, and deep empathy for animals. So we get to know that Gavin Maxwell is a naturalist. He's fascinated with wildlife and nature, and hence writes stories and essays and other works that are related to such topics. This story is an example of such a writing, in which we're going to read the story of Mijbil, the otter that the author found and kept with him. Alright, so let's get into the background of the story. The story is based on Gavin Maxwell's personal experiences while living in Iraq and Scotland. During his time in Iraq, Maxwell decided to keep an otter as a pet, which led to his unique bond with Mijbil. So while he was living in Iraq, Maxwell decided to keep an otter as a pet, and that decision led to this unique bond with Mijbil the otter. The story highlights the challenges and joys of caring for a wild animal and emphasizes the emotional connection between humans and animals. So through this story, we are going to understand the challenges and the joys that people face and experience when they take care of wild animals. And the story also emphasizes that how when humans take care of animals, they develop a connection, an emotional connection or a bond between them and their pet and the animals. It also showcases the beauty of otters, an often overlooked species, and their playful nature. So through the story, we're also going to know about the nature of the otters and the beauty of these otters, which are generally overlooked, which are not really cared about by a lot of people. Now let's discuss the setting. The setting of the story begins in marshes of Iraq, where Mijbil is introduced into Maxwell's life. So we begin the story with marshes. Marshland is a land which in Hindi we call it daldal. Okay, it's a marshy land in which the soil is also very wet, and if you put it's slimy and wet because of a lot of water content. So if you stand in it, you'll start drowning. Okay, so it's marshy land, like the Sundarbans that we have in West Bengal. They are marshy. Okay, they are marshy lands. So that is a place where Mijbil is introduced into Maxwell's life. The narrative then shifts to London, where Mijbil becomes accustomed to urban life, creating a stark contrast between the wild and domestic environments. So from Iraq, Maxwell takes Mijbil to United Kingdoms, to London, and we are also going to read about this journey and how Mijbil, from being a wild animal, learns the domestic ways and learns to understand and to start living in a domestic environment. Now let's get into the story. I hope so far the topics discussed are clear to you. Now we're going to discuss the detailed summary. The story begins with Gavin Maxwell living in Iraq, deciding to own an otter after losing his beloved dog. His friend suggested that an otter would be an excellent companion, giving Maxwell's love for animals. So the story, as we discussed in the setting as well, begins when Gavin Maxwell has lost his beloved dog and he was living in Iraq at that time. So he finally decides to own an otter. Now in this picture you can see how cute the drawing of this otter is. Okay, so his friend suggested that an otter would be an excellent companion, because he knows that Maxwell loves animals. So finally Maxwell decides that instead of getting another dog or maybe another animal, he's going to pet an otter. He's going to take care of an otter. Maxwell receives a marsh otter from the Tigris marshes and he names it Mijbil. So Tigris is the name of the place of these marshes, and from there he receives an otter, a marsh otter, and he names it Mijbil. I hope so far the introduction and the beginning is clear to you. Now we move to the next paragraph. Mijbil quickly proved to be intelligent, playful, and curious. He adapted to his new life with Maxwell, who was both fascinated and amused by Otter's antics. What do you understand by the word antics? Can anyone tell me? What do you understand by the word antics? What do you understand by the word antics? Antics are actually the funny ways or the silly ways in which some creature behaves. Here in this case it's the otter. So Mijbil proved to be intelligent, playful, and curious. Please make sure that you note down these important characteristics of the otter, because these can be asked for your exams, for your boards. Now Mijbil gradually adapted to his new life with Maxwell, and Maxwell was also fascinated and amused by the playfulness, the silliness of the otter, this behavior of this otter. Okay, so they both started enjoying each other's company. Mijbil started learning how to live with Maxwell, and Maxwell started learning more about this otter and his playful nature, his silly nature, and the funny things that he used to do. The story captures several humorous and heartwarming incidents, such as Mijbil turning Maxwell's bathroom into his personal playground by splashing water and playing with everyday objects. So now you'll see in the story that otters love water. Okay, yeah, it just rhymed. Okay, so otters are very fond of water. They of course live in water, so they enjoy living in water. And Maxwell finally understands that otters need water to feel free, to feel comfortable. Okay, so finally this otter, he takes otter to his bathroom. He takes Mijbil to his bathroom, and over there he sees that when Mijbil is left into the water, he enjoys. He's very carefree. He's playful, and he has made his bathroom his own personal playground where he plays with water and with all the everyday objects like shampoo bottles, soap, and whatever is available to him. He enjoys that time. I hope this paragraph is clear as well. Now let's move to the third paragraph. Maxwell planned to take Mijbil to England, which required a long journey. The flight regulations did not allow animals in the cabin, so Mijbil had to travel in a box. Now, there are a lot of rules if you have to take pets through flights, specifically international flights. So there was this regulation that animals were not allowed in the cabin. Okay, so Maxwell, because he had to go to England, he had to move to London from Iraq, he plans to take Mijbil with him in a box. Now, even though he took all the precautions that he could, The journey proved eventful because Mijbil escaped from the box. Now he's an otter, a wild animal. So if general human beings, if common people see a wild animal, how do you think they will react? Of course, they will start shrieking, they'll be scared, right? So this is what happened when Mijbil escaped from this box. He caused a chaos on the flight. Okay, everybody got scared, people started shouting, shrieking, and finally, Maxwell, uh, slowly, gradually, with affection and patience, he calmed Mijbil down, and ultimately, they ensured a safe arrival in London. Okay, they safely arrived in London. All right. Despite the precautions, the journey proved eventful as Mijbil escaped from the box, causing chaos on the flight. Chaos is a confused and a panic situation. All right. However, Maxwell's affection and patience allowed him to calm Mijbil and ensure a safe arrival in London. So finally, Maxwell's love and patience for Mijbil allowed him to calm Mijbil down, and to ensure his safe arrival in London. Now I move to the fourth paragraph. In England, Mijbil became an instant favorite among Maxwell's friends and the public. So you can understand that otter is not a common thing for a pet. Okay, a lot of people, even we, haven't seen otters in real. Okay, a lot of us must have not seen otters in real. So when Maxwell brought Mijbil to London, to England, this little creature, something you can say something out of the ordinary, a different creature, became an instant favorite among Maxwell's friends and the public. People admired Mijbil. Alright. The otter's unique behavior and charm drew admiration wherever he went. So we learned that Mijbil used to show a lot of antics, and Maxwell used to enjoy his antics. So these behaviors that he showed everywhere, he drew admiration from that. It drew admiration towards himself. Okay. Now it was his unique behavior and the charm that drew admiration towards itself wherever he went. Maxwell's relationship with Mijbil demonstrated a potential for trust and understanding between humans and wildlife. Now this point is very important because we'll see that even though Mijbil was a wild creature, but when Maxwell cared for him, he loved him, he showed affection and showed patience to let the animal understand, okay, and to to adapt to the new surroundings that it has been brought in. So through this story, actually, Maxwell demonstrates that there is a potential for trust and understanding, that you don't need to be afraid of all the animals, okay, that there is a scope, you can try and you can build trust in animals. Humans and animals can coexist in harmony, is what Maxwell is trying to show us through his relationship with Mijbil. Moving on to the final paragraph, the story concludes with Maxwell reflecting on the joy and fulfillment that Mijbil brought to his life, showing how their bond enriched both their lives. So finally, towards the end, we see that Maxwell concludes the story by reflecting on the happiness and the fulfillment that he got when that Mijbil brought into his life. Okay, that Mijbil brought to his life. So he concludes by sharing the joy, the happiness that he felt when Mijbil came into his life and they both started living together, showing how their bond enriched both their lives, showing that how Mijbil enjoyed living with Maxwell as well as Maxwell's love, because Maxwell's love and patience gave him the opportunity to understand human love and to develop a bond with Maxwell. And similarly, Maxwell also developed a bond with the otter, with the playfulness, the silliness, and the way the otter behaved. He became, you can say, connected with him. So, showing that their relationship enriched both their lives, made their lives better. Now here we conclude the detailed summary. I hope the chapter is clear to you. After this, now we're going to discuss the themes and the exam focus points. All right. So stay tuned for that as well. The first theme that we have seen in the story is of human and animal bond. This is the, you can say, the central theme of the story, human and animal bond. Throughout the story, we see the deep connection between Maxwell and Mijbil, which showcases trust, love, and companionship. So, hence, this theme you can say is the central theme of the story, human animal bond, showing trust, love, and companionship between Maxwell and Mijbil. The second theme here is adaptability of animals. Mitchell's ability to adjust to domestic life and human companionship highlights the adaptability of wildlife. So, through this, we understand that the animals are also capable of adapting to the domestic life. Of course, you can see from time immemorial that all the animals that we have now domesticated were once wild. All the plants that we have now domesticated were once wild. So, animals also possess the capability, the possibility of, or the strength, you can say, of adapting to domestic life. Okay, so we can say here that Maxwell is trying to tell us that with love and with care, again, humans and animals can coexist peacefully. Let's move to the next theme, which is humor and joy. We see that the playful antics of Mijbil and add a light-hearted tone, emphasizing the happiness pets can bring. So here, all the pet owners can relate, irrespective of the animals you own. When you are with the pet, be it a dog, a cat, or whatever other animals that you can pet, okay, you can domesticate. When you're with the animals, their playfulness, their liveliness helps you forget all your worries and brings joy to you, brings happiness to you. So, this playful behavior, the playful antics of Mijbil have added a light-hearted tone, telling us that pets can bring a lot of happiness. Next, conservation and empathy. Maxwell's portrayal of Mijbil fosters an appreciation for animals and the need to respect and protect wildlife. So through the story, Maxwell is trying to tell us to conserve and to empathize with the animals, and he's trying to tell us that we should take care of everything that has been given to us on this earth, including the plants, the animals, the soil, the earth, the air, everything. Okay, so here through the story, he talks about the conservation and showing empathy to animals to protect wildlife. Challenges of caring for wild animals. The story subtly highlights the difficulties and responsibilities involved in keeping a wild animal as a pet. Now, Maxwell is not saying that it is easy to domesticate a wild animal, because wild animals have a certain way of behaving. Okay, they have been free, they have been left free in the wild, and they do not know how to live in a domesticated way, or they do not know how to live with humans. So it takes a lot of time and patience, care and trust in order to help the animal that you bring in to adapt to the surrounding. Okay, so the story very subtly highlights the difficulties and responsibilities that are involved in keeping a wild animal as a pet. This completes our themes. I hope the themes are clear to you and you'll be able to elaborate them if any question comes in exams. Talking about exams, now it's time to discuss the points to be focused on when you prepare for your exams. Children, please make a note that no matter what you write in your registers, the board examiners are not going to give you exactly what questions and answers have been given to you. So it's better to understand the story and to understand the themes and what the author or the poet is trying to tell you, to convey to you, so that you can write your answers in your own words. And writing your answers in your own words is always appreciated by the examiners, because that actually tells the examiner how much you've understood of the chapter. And understanding is the most important part of any learning, because after understanding only will you be able to apply whatever you have learned. Okay, So, keeping that in mind, now let's discuss what important points you can focus on for this from this chapter. The first one is questions that often focus on the relationship between Maxwell and Mijbil, emphasizing trust, understanding, and companionship. So make sure that you are very clear with the concept of with the relationship that Maxwell and Mijbil shared, so that you can answer the question if a question arises on the relationship. Make sure to write about the trust, understanding, and companionship that was shown, that was demonstrated in the story. All right. The second is the important incidents such as Mijbil's antics or the challenges during the flight that have been frequently highlighted. Okay. So make sure when you read your chapter after this, underline the important incidents that have happened and keep them in mind. Okay. For example, the flight incident that when Maxwell was taking Mijbil from Iraq to London, when he had to take him in the box, and Mijbil freed himself, okay, and then caused a chaos. So such things can be asked in exams. And then how Mijbil started enjoying the bathroom and made it as playground, those things can be asked in exams. So make sure that you're clear with the important incidents that have happened in the story. Be prepared to discuss the broader themes of empathy for wildlife and the responsibilities of caring for animals. This is very important because this story highlights the importance of wildlife conservation. Okay, so you should be very clear, and not only through just the story, you should be very clear in your mind as to how you can conserve and empathize with wildlife, with nature. So be prepared to discuss. For this, I would suggest that you could also, in your free time, read some articles or maybe go through some videos that tell you about wildlife conservation, conservation of nature, and something on this theme. Okay, so it will be very helpful for you when you write your answer, because when you have a deep understanding, you'll be able to create your answers very well. Now, these are the main points that you're supposed to focus for your exams from this chapter. If you have any queries, feel free to ask in the comment section. And that's a wrap for today's session. I hope I've clarified the chapter and answered your queries. Got more questions? Let me know in the comments. If this video helped, make sure to share it with others. Stay tuned, I'll be uploading more chapters soon. Take care and best of luck.